Hi, Lenars Goodwin. I'm going to be speaking to you on the different types of conflict and then the different conflict resolution styles. Now, when we're going to look into the different types of conflict, the first we're going to look at is the pseudo conflict or the fake or false conflict. And in a pseudo conflict is where two people agree, but because of a lack of communication or poor communication, it causes them to believe they disagree. Now, this one seems to be a simpler fix because you, as a group leader or a person expediting a group meeting, can get these two to communicate better, or if you can communicate what the two are trying to say in a way that they both understand, then we can get them to see that they are agreeing, but because of communication, they think that they disagree, which again goes into pseudo conflict or fake or false conflict. The second of which we're going to look at is a simple conflict, and it's when two people's ideas are mutually beneficial to themselves or mutually exclusive, or you can't seem to get them to collaborate, or the ideas are incompatible. Now when we look at this and we call this a simple conflict, but it's not necessarily a simple conflict, it's said to be a simple conflict because both parties know where the problem is. Both parties know the ideas are different. This is where we disagree. Now, when you begin to look at that simple conflict, it's broken down into two categories. The two categories are task conflict and process conflict. Now, task conflict, this is when you get differences and the task lineup for a specific idea for the group. It's not necessarily a disagreement on the overall task of the group, but how we're going to accomplish this thing. But one of the tasks, not how we're going to accomplish, because that would be process, but one of the tasks that we have set in place, we disagree on this particular task. Now, process conflict is when your members begin to disagree on the process that it takes to accomplish these tasks, or what is the next step to accomplish certain tasks. Now, easy fixes for you in your group meeting or in your group setting would be for you to clarify the message that you're trying to get across. It would be for you to clear up each person's perception of the message or the task that you're trying to have. Another is something else that you can do when you begin to have conflicts is you can keep the discussion focused on the issues. You can use facts. Make sure they use facts and they don't begin to become opinionated, because this is how you can create a couple of other types of conflict. You begin to create ego conflict, or what we begin to call a relation conflict. And ego conflict, when you allow things to get personal, people begin to feel personally attacked. And you don't want anyone to feel personally attacked, so you want to keep the argument or the conflict. When you're solving the conflict, you want to keep it on a factual basis. Now, when you begin to look at relation conflict, this is where you get two or more members ganging up on another member. And so, in order to keep this, you want to keep opinions out of it, because you get I agree with your opinion, and because I agree with you, then you and I are going to go against him. And you don't want that when you're dealing with conflict, when you're dealing with resolutions. Now, when you begin to really look at conflict resolution and break it down, you begin to look at the individual more so than the group. And when you begin to look at the individual more so than the group, then you begin to look at the different types of the way individuals deal with conflict resolution. And when you look at that, you begin to look at how our book cites Ralph Kilman and Kenneth Thomas stating our conflict management style is based on two things. The first thing is our concern for others. The second is our concern for ourselves. Now, when you begin to look at that, you now have to say, okay, which one am I? Am I more concerned for others, or am I more concerned for myself? When you begin to deal with the individual, if you're the group leader, you have to say, okay, does this person seem more concerned for the group or more concerned for themselves? And when you begin to break that down, you can place them into different categories. Now, if they're more concerned for themselves, then they will become more competitive. And so their conflict resolution style would be more competitive, meaning I'm going to win this argument or this conflict, whether it helps the group or hurts the group. If they have more of a concern for others, then it's that they'll avoid conflict or they'll accommodate. And avoiding the conflict altogether could cause greater problems later on, and accommodating the same thing, but accommodating is them saying, you know what, you're right, I'll give up my opinion, let's just move on with our task. Now you have two other categories of resolution that you can place people in. The first is compromise, is where two people come together and say, even though we're going to agree to disagree, or we're going to agree to agree, or however it works out, it could be win-win or lose-lose. Now, you can win-win and lose-lose without accomplishing your task. So you have to be careful with compromise. The greatest conflict resolution style when you're in a group setting is collaboration. Now, with collaboration, you continue to get people to set their opinions aside. So we're not compromising. I'm not saying I'll give up a piece of my opinion and you give up a piece of your opinion. This is saying, okay, let's figure out what pieces of each opinion are better for the group. So we're going to collaborate. When you collaborate, you get better results. Now, again, as I go over the things that I said, you have the different conflict styles, and so you want to make sure you identify what type of conflict you have, whether it be a pseudo conflict or maybe it is a simple conflict. So you want to identify that. And then you have to identify the type of conflict resolution style that each person in your group has as a group moderator. When you begin to do those things, then it becomes easier to solve conflict resolution, to use conflict resolution and implement conflict resolution procedures within your group. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Denarius Goodwin.